Titans and the Texans here on CBS. Retractable roof is closed here at Reliant Stadium, which opened back in 2002. It has been raining the last few days here in Houston, and still some precipitation, a mist in the air outside. We're indoors. Mike Munchak, he knows this city well. Munchak, Hall of Fame player, is a member of the Houston Oilers. 31st year with the organization as a player, assistant coach, and head coach. And Gary Kubiak, he was a ball boy for the Houston Oilers. Grew up here in Houston, local product now in his 7th year as the head coach of the Texans, and he's got his team at 3-0. His 100th career regular season game as the head man in Houston. Houston has won the toss. They will receive. Rob Baronis will kick it off for Tennessee at 1-2, coming off a 44-41 win in overtime against Detroit. We're underway here in Houston. Trindon Holiday is the beat man. He's going to take it out of the end zone, 7 yards deep. Holiday still looking the best one this year in the regular season, and angled out of bounds. Just across the 25, Robert Johnson among those chasing him down for Tennessee, and Houston will take over. Matt Schaub, talk about toughness. He showed it last week in that victory over Denver.
And tight end Owen Daniels told us that toughness that was displayed by Schaub showed his teammates just how much the game means to him. He continues to show his toughness game after game. In fact, his teammates now affectionately call him the Schaubinator.
that might stick. It's got a ring to it. They were calling him Evander Holyfield because of the ear as well for a while. Schaub on first down, forced to throw it away. Put it over the head of Kevin Walter. Cameron Wimbley supplying the pressure on Matt Schaub. Let's take a look at the starting offense and the line that protects Schaub. They haven't been giving up a lot of sacks, but there's been a lot of pressure. You'll see Antoine Caldwell rotate with Ben Jones. Derek Newton will rotate with Ryan Harris on the right side of the line. Backs and receivers, Daniels is such a weapon for Schaub. Very comfortable, great chemistry between the QB and the tight end. On 2nd and 10, quick hitter on a slant. Andre Johnson, catch and run for Johnson. Into Tennessee territory just across the 45. Andre Johnson, 9 career touchdowns against Tennessee, and he's inching closer to 10,000 yards for his career.
Yeah, easy throwing lane, wide open Johnson. This is where he's so dangerous, gets by Griffin there, and finally is corralled after 33 yards, but what a great start for the Texans. Good kickoff return by Holiday, then on the 2nd down, the big play to Johnson.
James Casey sets up as a receiver. Now will shift into the backfield. And a new set of downs for Houston to work with in Tennessee territory. Fake the handoff. Schaub, floater over the middle for Johnson. Finding another soft spot in this Tennessee defense. Johnson is banged down at the 24, and he picks up a quick 20 yards.
Well, the short split by Johnson made Werner think he was probably going to run an outside route, but he runs the slant route again and again. There's no linebackers underneath to help out with Werner. And again, it's a big play for the Texans as they're now close to the red zone in 3 plays.
And fast pace here for Houston. First down for the Texans, running play, Arian Foster. Foster hit at the 19-yard line and a 5-yard gain. Witherspoon will get credit for the stop for Tennessee. Let's take a look at the Titans defense, and you'll see changes in the middle of that defensive line. Some Derek Marks, but a lot of Carl Klug and Mike Martin. Linebackers, Akeem Ayers, a 16-tackle performance last week in that win over Detroit. Made a couple of mistakes as well, including on the Hail Mary at the end of regulation in the secondary. Alteron Werner, what a contest he had last week. Foster to the perimeter. Dwayne Brown with a good block, and Foster makes it look so easy. That's a 5-yard gain for Foster.
Yeah, because he is such a glider, it doesn't look like he's really running that fast, but you can tell by the way he gets to the corner that the speed is just too much for the Titans on that particular play, and he picks up the first down.
17 100-yard rushing games over the last 3 years. That's the most in the NFL. He went for 105 last week in the 31-25 victory in Denver. 3 tight end formation, 6th play of the drive. First down run for Foster. Foster runs into a wall at the 11-yard line. 3-yard pickup. Ayers and Morgan combining to bring him down.
You see the zone type of running scheme that the Texans employ. First play of the game, they came out, faked that zone run, and ran a play-action pass that Schaub wisely threw away. But the combination of that zone stretch type of run and then the play-action off it has been so good for the Texans throughout the years.
Tennessee gave up 583 yards to Detroit last week. 2nd and 7, Schaub over the middle. Catch made by Casey. Spins his way into the end zone. Touchdown, Texans. An early statement. Oh, yeah. Houston's offense is clicking.
Yeah, again, it's a route over the middle for the Texans. There's just no help by the linebacker. Zach Dials, 53, the middle linebacker, drops deep. Inside of Ayers goes Casey. He pinballs his way into the end zone.
Shane Graham on for the extra point. 7 plays, 77 yards. They never even faced a third down. The Houston Texans on the board first, in the first. Well, the key numbers so far, 7 plays, 77 yards, and it's 7-0 Houston early in this first quarter.
Good use of the 3 tight ends that time. The Texans giving the look of a power run with Graham in there with Daniels and Casey. Casey gets his first touchdown of the season.
And Matt Schaub, 7 straight wins for him going back to last season before the foot injury that forced him to miss the final 6 games of the regular season. Graham on the kickoff. Raynaud. And he's bottled up short of the 20-yard line by Brian Brayman on special teams.
Well, watch the 3 tight ends. Here goes Daniels, and Casey's going to come in right behind him. 56 is Akeem Ayers, and he's just going to play out too wide, and Graham gets, rather Casey gets inside him. Schaub with no pressure at all delivers a perfect pass. Tight ends have given the Titans all kind of problems throughout this early season.
And it is loud as Tennessee has the ball for the first time on offense, and the clock is winding down. 2 on the play clock. Got the snap off, Locker on a give. Johnson's got room. Chris Johnson out across the 30-yard line. He came in with his longest run of the season, 13. He just matched it on the first play from scrimmage for Tennessee.
Good job of seeing the hole back over the left side. Running behind Leroy Harris, the right guard, 64. Look at that size of that hole. And then the good block by Hutchinson on the weak side allowed for that 13-yard gain.
Johnson to the sideline. And a 4-receiver set on 1st and 10 for the Titans. Locker working out of the gun. Gets rid of it. Quick release. Incomplete. Kendall Wright, the rookie out of Baylor, the intended receiver. Jake Locker, first win of his NFL career last week. He said it wasn't a conventional shootout, but a big win for a number of different reasons.
And he told us that we can expect to see more designed quarterback runs as the season progresses. He has had big runs in each of the games, including a 31-yarder against the Lions last week, and that led to a Titan field goal.
He is Tennessee's leading rusher this season, 67 yards on the ground, 8.5 yards per clip. 2nd and 10. And a pitch. Johnson. Chris Johnson hits the hole out across the 35 for a pickup of 5. Brian Cushing with the tackle. Starting offense for Tennessee. They call him Big Country. David Stewart is going to have his hands full with J.J. Watt here today on the right side of that Tennessee line. Backs and receivers. No Kenny Britt. Britt has to sit this one out with an ankle injury. They worked him out before the game, but he couldn't go. Kendall Wright gets the start at wide receiver along with Nate Washington. Darius Raynaud in on 3rd and 5. Spread the field for Locker. Knocked down. Brooks Reed. A defensive end in college. They can put him anywhere on the field, and he's been making plays for this Texans D.
Well, they all seem to do it. We saw J.J. Watt against Miami do it very effectively. Watch Reed avoid the cut block, get in the face of Locker, and knock that ball down. Ball in the air for a long time. close to being picked off as Cushing was going for it hard.
Fourth down, Brett Kern averaging just under 51 yards per punt. Trendon Holiday standing at his own 15-yard line. Returnable. Holiday. Oh, he got walloped. Just short of the 25-yard line. 50-yard punt, 8-yard return. Taylor Thompson on special teams and Tim Shaw. 7-0 Houston. A lot of rain here in Houston over the last couple of days, but you talk to people here locally who say, oh, we needed it.
Doesn't everybody say when it rains, we needed the rain?
Yeah, we needed the rain. We didn't need it visiting. Schaub on a throw, too high. Looking for Kevin Walter down the sideline. McCourty back there and some help from Jordan Babineau. Well, Houston's average time of possession, 36-34. That's the best in the NFL. Titans come in last in that category at 23-18. And a third down, Jake Locker has got spread formation, a lot of different receivers to choose from, and it gets knocked down at the line of scrimmage, and their drive ends. Schaub, good protection, dump off, catch made by Ben Tate. Tate leans forward across the 30-yard line, short of a first down. Akeem Ayers with a stop. It's a 9-yard pickup. Let's head to New York. NFL Today update. JB, Shannon Sharp.
No sulking by Cam Newton here, Shannon.
Yeah, you like my body language now, JB? I sure do, son. Greg Olsen from Cam Newton, 17 yards. Carolina out early, 7-0 over Atlanta.
Dan Fouts always had a positive bit of body language. Back to Ian and Dan.
Yeah, he brings that with him in the broadcast booth as well.
I do now.
3rd and 1, trying to convert here. Arian Foster didn't get there. Had to get to the 33-yard line, and just about everybody involved defensively for Tennessee to stack him up and force Houston into a punt.
Yeah, Jarrell Casey did a good job at the point of attack, number 99. He beats the block of Caldwell. That allows the linebackers to come up and keep Foster short. That's a huge play for the Tennessee Titans defense. They've been on the field way too much because of that disparity in the time of possession you talked about earlier, Ian.
Donnie Jones to punt it. He's averaging 49.3 yards per kick. Last week in Denver, 54.2 punting average. The altitude, a punter's best friend.
And a dome stadium like this.
Darius Raynaud waiting for it. Flag is thrown. Raynaud is hit from the side of the 15-yard line and looked like an illegal block in front of Raynaud. 61-yard punt and a 9-yard return. Penalty marker at the 17-yard line.
Yeah, Tommy Campbell with an illegal block there that these fans here in Houston saw easily.
During the return, illegal block in the back, number 37 of the return team. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
And Carl Cheffers, referee on hand. Great to see the officials back at work. Locked out. New 8-year contract. Welcome back, guys. 7-0. Houston in front. Back in Houston, we at CBS lost one of the members of our family, a great family man last week, Jack Shoemaker. A jack of all trades in the Midwest. Passed away last Sunday, survived by his 3 sons, his 4 grandchildren, multitude of family, friends, co-workers. Jack Shoemaker was 54 years old. Always a great guy to be around in Cincinnati and Indianapolis, and our thoughts and prayers go out to Jack's family. Chris Johnson hit by J.J. Watt. It's a loss of 1 on the play.
And that's really been one of the problems with the Titans running game. They'll get a good gain out of Johnson, and then they'll get a loss or no gain on a play, and that has affected his per rush average.
Texans have won 6 of their last 8 games against AFC South competition. 2nd and 11 here for the Titans. They'll try Johnson again. Johnson across the 10, give him a gain of 3.5. Brady James, first man over there for Houston. Take a look at the defense for the Houston Texans. Everybody contributing on that defensive line, including Antonio Smith, who continues to play at a high level. Linebackers, a real strength of this team. We saw Brooks Reed making a play earlier. And in the secondary, Glover Quinn had his career day 2 years ago against the Titans when he had 3 interceptions in one game. Jonathan Joseph was a question mark with a groin injury, but he's in there after not practicing on Wednesday and Thursday. 3rd and 7. Locker, look out! Locker crushed by Quinn. Oh, Locker grabbing at the right hand. And the medical staff is out there.
Yeah, you talk about a big hit on the quarterback. Never saw Quinn coming. Safety blitz called by Wade Phillips, defensive coordinator. And Locker, a tough guy. You know that if he's still down on the ground, he is hurt. Watch the blitz right here. Totally unblocked is Glover Quinn. Either this is a misread by the quarterback. It appeared that Cook let him go anticipating the hot read, but Locker looking to his left, not to his right, never sees 29. It looked like Quinn's helmet hit the finger of Jake Locker here, right on the right hand. Yeah, that could be his wrist. You can see how far that wrist was bent. And now the obvious pain that Locker is in as he continues to lie on the ground being attended to by the medical staff of the Titans.
Matt Hasselbeck is the backup quarterback. The veteran is getting ready on the sideline as they check out Locker down on the field. Back here in Houston, Jake Locker is along the Titans sideline and now is going to head to the locker room, presumably for some x-rays.
It may not be his right hand. You can see him holding his left hand. It was hit as well. It was a perfectly designed blitz here. But watch Cook's reaction as Glover Quinn goes by him. Cook is looking for the hot pass here. Locker's attention is to the other side. And I think when Watt came in, he hit the left hand and the left wrist of Locker.
First career sack for Quinn. First sack Tennessee's given up in the last 3 weeks. Brett Kern, the punt. Holiday has some room to work with. Holiday was in Tennessee territory, then went backwards, but was able to get himself back across the 50. Will Witherspoon with a hit on special teams. Locker is headed to the locker room. We'll keep you updated on that when we come back. 7-0 Houston in front. We're going to give you another look at that Jake Locker sack and where J.J. Watt may have played a role in the injury to Locker. 1st and 10 for Houston. Opening up in Tennessee territory with Foster in the backfield. On the ground, Foster leans forward across the 45 and picks up 3 yards, cut down by Babineau.
Well, Quinn obviously got the big hit on the right hand and in the chest, but watch the helmet of J.J. Watt come right in here and hit the left arm. And as Locker's laying on the ground, he did not move that left arm at all. And he's probably having x-rays as we speak.
Ben Jones is in at right guard for Houston on a 2nd and 7. They've got a 7-0 lead on Tennessee. Foster. Kicking out on the block, Chris Myers creating some space for 6 yards. Alteron Werner with a stop for Tennessee. To get the latest news and analysis from CBS Sports experts, watch Pro Football 360 live weekdays at 3 p.m. Eastern or on demand at cbssports.com/ProFootball360.
A couple of good runs on 1st and 2nd down for Foster and the Texans. That usually sets up the play action pass at some point for Schaub.
Mike Munchak hoping that last week was a character-building game for Tennessee. That back and forth at the end of the game and into overtime.
Timeout, Houston.
Texans use a timeout. 5:01 mark of this opening quarter. Houston up 7-0. Hasselbeck getting ready to come in when Tennessee gets the ball back. They are taking a look at the left shoulder of Jake Locker, injury he suffered in the opener against New England. And it made him a question mark for week 2 against San Diego. He did play against the Chargers. 3rd and 1 now for Houston after the timeout. Arian Foster stumbles, and it's very close. See where they spot the football as Jarrell Casey will get credit for the stop. I don't think he has enough.
Trying to get in behind Dwayne Brown, 76, but it's that penetration. Great job just with the right hand. The nose tackle, I think that was Senderick Marks with that play. Heck of a play to keep Foster short of the first down.
So 4th down, Houston's going to go for it. Back set up in the eye, motion man is Daniels. 4th and less than a yard for Houston. Give it to Tate. Bounces to the outside. He's got a first down. James Casey with a good block. Springing Tate loose for 5. And this drive will continue for the Texans.
Yeah, and on the first drive, the Texans moved it through the air. This has been all on the ground on this one after the good field position to start the drive. Good job by Tate bouncing it to the outside. You notice how firmly he's hanging on to that ball after that costly fumble last week.
8 carries, 26 yards. The fumble that you mentioned, Dan, and that 31-25 win in Denver. Pump fake. Schaub throws underneath to Casey. James Casey with a catch, driving forward for a 10-yard pickup, and enough for a first down. Zach Brown with the tackle over there for Tennessee.
And tight ends continue to give the Titans problems. Casey with his second catch. That one for a first down. His first one was for a touchdown.
Schaub so far, 5 of 7, 84 yards. The touchdown to Casey. Casey now in his 4th year. Played locally here at Rice. Arian Foster on the sideline with the helmet off. First down for Houston. Bootleg. Schaub. Touch pass. Casey. Toppled over. Casey holds on to the football. At the 16, Alteron Werner with the stick. 6-yard pickup.
Now, we talked about the problems that Titans have had all season long stopping tight ends. 28 catches in just 3.5 games. It's not even including today with Casey with 3 catches.
Well, we were in San Diego where Dante Rosario
caught 3 passes.
Had the day of his life. 2nd and 4 here for Houston. Foster back in there. Schaub went down but was able to hand it off to Foster, who angles for a 3-yard pickup.
Yeah, it helps when you're 6'5" and you have long arms. Looked like he got stepped on by one of his offensive linemen, but had the wherewithal to know that Foster, who's patient, would allow him to give the ball to him.
Houston facing a 3rd and 1. We are under 2 minutes to go now in this first quarter. 7-0 Texans in front. Just 3rd and a long one for the Texans. Ryan Mouton on as the nickel for Tennessee. Play clock is down to 2. Fake the handoff. Rush is coming. Schaub gets rid of it. He connects. Keyshawn Martin fighting. Martin, the rookie out of Michigan State. And it's right there. Very, very close. Now, they don't like the spot here in Houston.
Looked like it might have been a horse collar tackle. Here's Mouton here. And you can see as the play action goes away, Martin comes all the way back behind the line of scrimmage to get out into the flat and come up just inches short.
4th and inches for the Houston Texans.
It wasn't a horse collar because Mouton had the jersey down by the numbers on the back of Martin's jersey.
They have already gone for it on 4th down once on this drive. Gary Kubiak doesn't like the spot. Taking a look at the replay on the big screen here.
Yeah, he's got that red flag in his hand ready to throw it. Waiting for another look from the big board here. All the big board is showing are the officials. He's waiting for this shot. Watch Martin's feet go out of bounds here. Where's the ball when they do? It looked like he reached over that red marker there on the ground, and there goes the challenge flag by Kubiak. And I think he's going to win this one.
So Houston will challenge it instead of facing a 4th and inches. They're going to roll the dice
Houston
here.
is challenging the ruling on the field that the ball is short of the line to gain. We'll review the play.
And they'll take a look at it off this coach's challenge. Mike Munchak will have to wait and see how this one plays out with 1:14 to go in the opening quarter.
Great effort by Martin as he's being tackled and staring at the face of Werner coming right at him. This marker here on the sideline, not official, but gives the player a good indication of what he needs to pick up the first down. Now, when the knee goes out of bounds, where's the ball? It appeared from that angle well past the marker on the ground.
He was able to extend his body, and just as the knee hit, he did extend his arms forward with the football. The question was he already out of bounds before the ball had gotten across that line?
I think he's got it by about 2 feet.
The placement on the field is inches short of the 12-yard line. That was the line to gain here. His knee's out of bounds at the 12. His torso and his body, the rest of his body, is ahead of it.
Really a smart play by Martin. Remember, he's a rookie out of Michigan State.
So the NFL challenges so far with the replacement officials, 48 challenges, 23 reversed. Now remember, the booth officials, replay officials, were still
regular
in
guys.
place.
Yep.
The regular guys. Here's Carl Cheffers' decision.
The ball was at the 11.5-yard line prior to the runner being out of bounds. The ball will be spotted there, and we will remeasure for a first down.
Well, that's going to give it to him.
Yeah, the down marker's at about the 12, so those 2 feet we talked about are going to be good enough to get the first down for the Texans, I think.
So they'll do the remeasure now with the new spot.
They're not going to have to go far with the chains either, are they? About 3 feet.
This is just to make it official, but you can tell that it's enough. More than enough. By the length of the football, enough.
Good challenge. And good help from the home crowd video operator.
7-0 Houston in front, looking for more with just over a minute to go in this first quarter. Well, that average time of possession piling up for Houston, 10:05 compared to 3:41 for Tennessee. We're being told it is the left shoulder of Jake Locker. And we expect to see Matt Hasselbeck in there when the Titans get the ball. Handoff for Foster. Slicing. Foster got slowed down. He had a head of steam. And he's knocked down inside the 5. Myers and Casey with good blocks up front for Foster.
And Jarrell Casey with a good tackle on Foster's. He went low and took the legs out from Foster.
2nd and 3 now, just inside the 5. 30 seconds to play in the first quarter. Motion man is Walter. Schaub on a give. The cut. Arian Foster. He's in. Touchdown, Texans. His ability to find the hole and explode. Arian Foster, 4th rushing touchdown of the season.
We saw James Casey with a good touchdown catch. Watch his block here, but also watch the double team in the middle here. Chris Myers working with his left guard, Wade Smith. This is real close to a review situation. All scoring plays are reviewed. They're taking a look at this upstairs. Foster got right in behind Casey, and you can see he is across the goal line with the ball there. 4th rushing touchdown on the season for Arian Foster. And the official from that side of the field was the first to signal touchdown.
10 plays, 47 yards. Shane Graham on for the point after. 14-0 Texans. And the different ways. We got a 2-touchdown lead on Tennessee.
Now, we talked about the weapons, and this is as balanced an offense as you can have, and it really starts with that offensive line. They're doing a great job of protecting Schaub throughout the season. Schaub has been solid today. And, of course, when you get the ball down close to the goal line, Foster seems to find a way to get it across the line into the end zone.
Then on the other side, the Texans have allowed just 42 points, the lowest in the AFC, third lowest total in the NFL. Get coverage of every NFL game with NFL Mobile's free premium access this weekend, including NFL Red Zone and NFL Network access. Call ** NFL or go to NFL.com/mobile to learn more. Mike Munchak's team down early once again. First 2 weeks, this was the issue. They went away from the running game because they had to play catch-up. Now their starting quarterback injured, Matt Hasselbeck. The veteran signal caller is going to get his opportunity to run this offense now in his 14th year in the NFL.
And what a luxury to have a veteran who's so accomplished as is Hasselbeck to be a guy coming off the bench for you.
Graham kicking it off. Darius Reynaud going to take it out. Reynaud had a 105-yard kick return for a touchdown last week. And this one is brought down just across the 15-yard line. Brian Bremen the play on special teams. The injury to Jake Locker. He had one week 1 against New England on this tackle of Patrick Chung, the left shoulder. And in fact, that affected what they did with him in week 2. They didn't call as many design running plays because they were a little bit worried about the shoulder injury.
And that's the first thing Munchak said is we've got to do a better job of protecting him. He's so valuable to us running the ball or throwing the ball. But now in the locker room,
3-time Pro Bowler Matt Hasselbeck. Hasselbeck slings it for Jared Cook. Cook getting some separation and a big gainer. Danielle Manning lost Cook, and Hasselbeck connects for 25 yards on the final play of this first quarter. Some breathing room here for Tennessee after Hasselbeck has the long completion to his tight end Cook. 14-0 Houston looking to stay undefeated, taking on the Titans. Start of the second quarter of the NFL on CBS here in Houston. Texans leading the Titans 14-0. Tennessee with a 1st and 10 from the 42. And a give for Johnson. Johnson breaking free of Brooks Reed, but Reed's got helpers. Jonathan Joseph among those there in run support. It turns into a 7-yard loss.
and before this loss, Johnson was averaging 5 yards a carry. This has plagued this running attack all season long. A couple of positive plays, and then good job by Brooks Reed beating the block of Craig Stevens. I think Stevens thought that Johnson was going to go inside him off tackle. Johnson looking to bounce it outside for a big game, gets a big loss instead.
2nd and 17 now for Tennessee. Hasselbeck giving out instructions to Johnson, who lines up off the line. Play clock down to 1. Hasselbeck from the gun. Over the middle, nobody home. Nate Washington in the vicinity for Tennessee, and it sets up 3rd and long now for the Titans.
Hasselbeck not happy with the route that was run by his receivers that time. How about the job this man has done everywhere he's been, whether as a head coach or as a defensive coordinator, one of the best all time. And what a turnaround here in a short time with the Texans.
And Brooks Reed told us they're just really taking in the nuances of Wade Phillips' defense this year. Last year, they were in that training mode, trying to learn it on the fly. Shotgun, flag down, Hasselbeck. Drop ball. Kendall Wright, his 2nd drop of the afternoon.
This may go against the Texans. Line up in the neutral zone, perhaps. Or an illegal formation against the Titans. That's what it is.
Illegal formation offense. 6 players on the line of scrimmage. That penalty's declined. 4th down.
So after the one long pass play to Jared Cook, the Titans offense goes to the sideline quietly.
Here's David Stewart right now. He is off the line of scrimmage. This is something that during the replacement officials, the offensive linemen were getting away with. Lining up deep in order to protect their quarterback.
Brett Kern to punt it for Tennessee. Trendon Holiday standing at his own 14-yard line for Houston. High punt. Holiday ranges over. Lets it bounce. And it got touched right around the 12-yard line. That's the wrong spot. The ball was touched on the other side of the 10.
He just corrected it by throwing the beanbag. Good job by the official.
14-0. Houston has got the lead. We're just underway in the second quarter. Tennessee has been held to 32 total yards. Houston has 133 yards. Hasselbeck is in for the injured Jake Locker at quarterback. And Houston has a 14-0 lead. 13:50 to go in this first half. Job straight back. Incomplete, trying to hit Andre Johnson, and Alteron Werner with the coverage for Tennessee. Numbers so far, Schaub has looked sharp, 92 yards through the air, the touchdown to James Casey. Foster has a touchdown on the ground. Chris Johnson got off to a good start, but had the big loss on Tennessee's previous possession. And Andre Johnson, 2 catches on the first drive, covering 53 yards. Schaub, dump off, catch is made by Tate, and Tate is going to lose yards. Brought down just across the 5 by Jarrell Casey.
Yeah, offensively for the Texans today, Andre Johnson, as you talked about, Ian, a couple of catches on that first drive. Casey gets into the end zone here. And then on the third drive of the game, it's the ground attack for the Texans. So far today, Foster has 10 carries for 36 yards and that score, 14-0.
They continue to mix and match on the right side of that line. Caldwell is back in. Ryan Harris is in at right tackle for Houston. 3rd and 16 for the Texans. Out of the gun. Handoff. Arian Foster got tripped up down low just across the 10-yard line, and a 7-yard pickup for Foster.
Arian Werner with a good tackle there.
And injured Houston
Antoine
Texan. Yeah,
Caldwell.
It's Caldwell. Antoine Caldwell has been rotating with Ben Jones at that right guard position. Medical staff is out there here in the second quarter. Back here at Reliant Stadium, 14-0. Texans in front. Injury to Antoine Caldwell. Caldwell got caught underneath as Arian Foster tried to get the necessary yardage, and Caldwell's being helped off the field by Dwayne Brown and Chris Myers. Caldwell in his 4th year from Alabama. Take a look at number 62.
Yeah, this is really unfortunate for Caldwell, blocking on Mike Martin. And just right in the pile here, you can see it's a right leg injury. Great to see his compadres there helping him off the field, Dwayne Brown and Chris Myers. They know how important Caldwell is.
Donnie Jones will punt it. Darius Raynaud waiting for it at the 34-yard line. They had a kick return for a touchdown last week. They had a punt return for a touchdown. Raynaud loses the ball. Flag is thrown. Allen Ball knocking it free. Tommy Campbell was back there, and Tennessee is going to officially hold on to the football after the 54-yard punt by Donnie Jones.
They're going to call Tommy Campbell for an illegal block in the back on Allen Ball. In fact, he pushes Ball into Raynaud. Raynaud never was able to get going here. The perfect hit by Ball right on the ball.
Illegal block in the back, number 37 of the return team. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Campbell last week, 65-yard touchdown on the punt return off the lateral from Raynaud. This time he gets caught with a penalty. 14-0. Texans in front. Tennessee with a football. Handoff right up the middle for Chris Johnson, and he's spun down after the 9-yard pickup. Good block by David Stewart on that offensive line for Tennessee. Coming up, Verizon halftime report. JB and the rest of the gang, the latest NFL scores and highlights. That's coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report.
Yeah, it hasn't been a good start for the Titans. They've just run 12 plays now, but that was a good one right up the middle for 9.
Give it to Johnson once again, and he's got a first down. Johnson stutter step move for a 4.5-yard gain as we head to New York. NFL Today update. JB, Shannon Sharp.
Our Hall of Famer tight end likes this play.
After a Rob Gronkowski fumble, Buffalo wastes no time. Scott Chandler from Ryan Fitzpatrick, 24-yard touchdown. We have a ball game in Buffalo. Let's go, Buffalo. Let's go, Buffalo.
Bills looking for their 3rd straight. Shannon, a recording contract. Back to Ian and Dan.
I think Shannon, you know some people in the music industry who can make that happen. Quick strike. Damian Williams from Hasselbeck, and a flag thrown at the 41-yard line. It's a gain of 10, but it's not going to stand.
Yeah, they're going to call it.
Pass interference number 89. Offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
Jared Cook with an illegal pick there. Freed up on the outside. He was running a route against Glover Quinn and just ran Quinn right over. Here they are right here. Watch Cook at 250 pounds just knock Quinn over. Easy call for the officials. And really a bad penalty. You get a good couple of runs, get some momentum going on the ground with Chris Johnson, and then you have a 10-yard penalty, puts you behind the 8 ball.
3rd penalty against Tennessee. No penalties so far against Houston. 1st and 20. Back to the ground game. Little juke move by Johnson and leans forward for 6. Watt combines with Cushing to bring down Chris Johnson. Another NFL Today update. Back to JB and Shannon.
Running the option at the pro level, Shannon?
Jim Harbaugh says, Rex Ryan, our quarterback running the Wildcat is better than yours. Colin Kaepernick, 7-yard TD run. They're up early at the Meadowlands. No, MetLife Stadium. My bad.
You think Dan Fouts would have rejected an option play being called for him?
Yes.
Absolutely. Ian and Dan.
Yeah, that would have been a check with me.
That would have been a timeout. Time to talk to the coach.
2nd and 14 now for Tennessee. Empty backfield, working from the gun. Hasselbeck throws over the middle, and he's got his man, Nate Washington. Washington hit at the 45. That's a 13-yard pickup. Brady James with the stick for Houston. Why is Hasselbeck in there? Because of this, Jake Locker.
In here and hit the left arm. Locker hits the ground. That bad left shoulder coming into the game, and that's what they were looking at in the locker room.
So Hasselbeck now running the offense for Tennessee. 3rd and short. Fake the handoff. Hasselbeck to flip. Wide open space for Quinn Johnson. Johnson into Houston territory. The 4th-year fullback won a Super Bowl with the Green Bay Packers and a bruising 17 yards on the catch and run.
Yeah, great call by Chris Palmer, offensive coordinator, faking the ball to Johnson, who's had success running right up the middle. Quinn Johnson sneaks out for his 2nd catch of the season, pick up the first down, and the Titans have got some offensive momentum going right now.
First time in Houston territory, and Johnson's got room. Chris Johnson, the cutback inside the 20. By far the best sustained running that Chris Johnson has had this season. 19 yards. That's his longest rip of the year.
Yeah, good job of blocking here. Watch the block by Roos as Johnson sees it off the backside as he did earlier in the game. Same type of run. But you see the success is between the tackles now for the Titans. It's not wide running plays. They're not allowing Johnson to try to get to the outside. He's making a lot of good yardage up in the middle.
He had 45 yards rushing coming in. He's got 54 today. Hasselbeck off play action, sneaks it in there. Craig Stevens battling. Touchdown, Tennessee. Stevens would not go down, and Hasselbeck with a strike to his tight end. The Titans cut into the Houston lead. It's 14-6. waiting on the extra point.
A great throw, a great catch, and really great coverage by Daniel Manning on the tight end. Here they are. And watch how Hasselbeck puts this ball up high to the 6'3" Stevens, who catches it with his hands and then just overpowers Quinn and gets into the end zone. Great effort by Craig Stevens. Of course, it's a scoring play. They're going to take a look at it upstairs. This would be the first touchdown catch of the season and fourth of Stevens' career, as they still now have a good 1-2 punch at their tight end position with Stevens and Cook. He may not have been able to get that ball across the goal line before his knee touched down.
Also the elbow, the right elbow came down and he was cradling it with his left hand. If it stands, it's 7 plays, 78 yards, and the touchdown Hasselbeck to Stevens. Last week, 5 catches, 63 yards, a career high.
You know, when his elbow hits down there, that left arm appears to be over the goal line. But what a great effort here. But the left, actually it's the right knee that may be down before the ball gets across the line. So this is going to be marked inside the 1, about the 6-inch line, I think.
Craig Stevens, 5th-year tight end, really known more for his blocking skills, but you talk to people associated with the Tennessee offense, players, coaches, they tell you that Stevens is a sneaky receiver.
Had a good game last week, 5 catches, 63 yards.
His brother Eric, currently a fullback at Cal right now. And is there enough evidence to overturn this, as he was lunging with that left arm? Call on the field was a touchdown for Stevens. He's backpedaling.
You freeze it right there, and from that angle it's impossible to tell where the nose of that ball is.
Replay rules. There must be indisputable visual evidence for a play
After
to be
review,
overturned.
the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
And there you go.
These fans will dispute it, though.
Will they indispute it? They can't.
Is that a double negative?
I don't know.
I thought there wasn't going to be any math today.
Or vocabulary. 14-6 Houston. Rob Baronis on for the extra point. Tennessee had been outscored 113-67 coming into this game. The worst scoring differential in the league. Hasselbeck, he's got the touchdown. 14-7, Houston in front of Tennessee. Only 2 teams had not allowed a touchdown in the first half of games this season. Houston was one of them until that touchdown by Tennessee. Arizona currently the only team yet to give up a touchdown in the first half this year. 7 plays, 78 yards. Chris Johnson, major impact on that drive. Now has 9 carries for 54 yards to lead the Titans. Baronis kicks it off to Holiday, 2 yards deep in the end zone. Holiday swings it to the outside. Caught as he crossed the 20 by Robert Johnson. Tonight, see what makes The Amazing Race the most celebrated reality show ever. Don't miss the season premiere of the Emmy-winning Amazing Race. That's tonight after 60 minutes, only CBS.
It'll be interesting to see how the Texans respond to that touchdown by Tennessee. Got good field position after that kickoff return.
It's a right ankle injury for Caldwell. His return is questionable. Ben Jones, the rookie out of Georgia, is in at right guard. Handoff. Arian Foster. He turns the corner and ducks out of bounds. Foster with those long strides. Good block from Kevin Walter, and Foster with a 6-yard pickup. .35 to play in this first half. 14-7, Houston in front of Tennessee. Texans 3-0 for the first time in franchise history. The Titans trying to get to the 500 mark with a win. 2nd and 4. Arian Foster again lowers the helmet out across the 30-yard line, picks up 2. The play action, something that Houston does so well And our Fouts Focus deals with the electricity they bring on offense.
It opened up a lot of big plays for them last week. Watch out. Both safeties of the Broncos were affected by Schaub's play fake to Arian Foster. Kevin Walters gets inside the corner. The safeties are out of the middle of the field. And it doesn't take long for Schaub to get the ball down the field to Walter for the touchdown.
3rd and 2 here for Houston. Foster will shift out of the backfield. Rush is coming. Schaub gets rid of it. Connects. Owen Daniels. They'll move the chains across the 35-yard line. Michael Griffin. He was coming in like a laser beam on Matt Schaub.
Here's Griffin. And Schaub does a nice job of getting it out quickly. The difference between Schaub and Jake Locker, the veteran, knows what he had there against the blitz and got rid of it.
Shannon Sharp sat down with Schaub, NFL Today. On the toss to Owen Daniels, sheds a tackle, flag is down. Daniels creating extra yardage after the broken tackle by Witherspoon. It's an 11-yard game, but a penalty marker thrown at the 42-yard line.
Going to be holding against Tennessee.
Prior to the pass, holding, number 56, defense. That penalty's declined. Result of the play, first down.
Heck of an effort by Daniels after that catch.
Shannon asking Matt Schaub about the hit that he took from Joe Mays, who was suspended one game and fined $50,000. He told Shannon that Mays did apologize to him down on the field, told us that he apologized to him after the game as well, and did lose a little piece of his left ear, but he was wearing some makeup for the television interview, so you couldn't tell.
Looked pretty good.
Ben Tate, the zigzag, and blasted. Zach Dials. 1-yard gain as Dials, the former Houston Texan, makes the play. As we head to Shannon along with JB, NFL Today update.
A different looking Carolina squad here, Shannon.
Yes, JB, the one thing they can do is run the football. DeAngelo Williams, handoff up inside, 13 yards later, he's into the end zone. 14-10 Carolina over the Falcons.
Shannon, I love Dan Fouts said, no, check with me on any play. Back to the bird and the beard.
All right, JB, Shannon, thanks very much. We've got a 14-7 game here with Houston in front of Tennessee. 2nd and 9 for the Texans on the move. Near midfield. Touch pass to Casey. 5-yard pickup for Houston. Hit at the 45-yard line, and there is Jake Locker. The left shoulder is the issue, just like in game 1 against New England.
This is so disappointing for Locker. He's got such a bright future. Teammates love him. Great competitor, developing to a solid leader and a dual threat on the ground through the air. And now he's going to be out for a while with that. It's really a hellacious hit by Glover Quinn and J.J. Watt.
Sets up 3rd and 4 now for the Texans. Play clock is down to 2. Running play, and nobody was fooled. Jarrell Casey sniffed it out. Arian Foster hit behind the line of scrimmage. A loss of 4 on the play. Houston will punt. It's 4th down.
Well, Casey gets inside the block of Ben Jones and meets Foster deep in the backfield. Another big play for this Tennessee defense.
Donnie Jones will punt it. Darius Raynaud is waiting for it at the 10. Tennessee is allowing a league-high 37.7 points per game, highest in the NFL, and it looked like we were going to see video game numbers for the Houston Texans after their quick start, but the Tennessee defense has recovered nicely. Saturday, CBS Sports brings you a college football doubleheader. First, 11:30 a.m. Eastern. Navy battles Air Force, then SEC Showdown. LSU tangles with Florida in the swamp. That matchup begins our college football today coverage at 3 Eastern here on CBS. It'll be sandwiched in between the Navy Air Force game and LSU Florida, with Tim Brando, Spencer Tillman in the game. Handoff, Chris Johnson breaks a tackle. Johnson, something he has not been doing through the first 3 weeks of the season, and he picks up 4 yards. J.J. Watt with a tackle.
No, we saw J.J. Locker on the sidelines in his street clothes because of these two big hits by Quinn and J.J. Watt. And don't forget about hitting the ground, too. That's where Locker originally hurt his shoulder on a tackle in the New England game.
No Kenny Britt today, out with an ankle injury. Rusty Smith, the third-string quarterback, is inactive. Hasselbeck out of the gun on 2nd and 6. Here comes the rush. Hasselbeck is spun down. Flag thrown. J.J. Watt with the sack. Watt with 5.5 on the season. Some pushing and shoving. The officials quickly break that up with David Stewart and Brooks Reed in there.
It's a great move by J.J. Watt.
Holding, number 76. Offense. That penalty's declined. 3rd down.
Leads the AFC in sacks. And this is why. Watch the move here. He's right behind Cushing. He's going to beat the block of Leroy Harris with a bit of a swim move there as he goes over the top and finds the quarterback for a huge sack.
We asked Munchak, a Hall of Fame offensive lineman in his own right, about Watt. He said, look, he plays hard. You have to match his intensity. He bats down a lot of balls. He creates opportunities. Hasselbeck, dump off. Chris Johnson.
Boy, that looked like a late hit there coming in on Johnson. Quentin Demps may have gotten away with the late shot there. Johnson on the ground, and Demps came in and just speared him.
8-yard gain on the catch and run. Demps is number 27. Play was over. Brian Cushing had already made the tackle. And a timeout with 2:07 to go in this second quarter. Houston has one timeout remaining. So 4th down for Tennessee. We'll see their punting unit on. The Verizon halftime report is coming up. Scores and highlights. JB and company all coming up on the Verizon halftime report.
Get used to the timeout just before the 2-minute warning. Actually gives your team 2 times to stop the clock. And they should get real good field position for this drive for Matt Schaub.
We just saw Mike Munchak. He still has a deep connection with the city of Houston, having played here for so many years. A lot of friends in the area. Holds his golf tournament here in March. And former Oilers like Dan Pastorini, Kenny Houston, Eldon Bethea, etc. show up to support it. Great memories for Munchak in this city. Kern the punt. Holiday waiting for it. The punt sails to the 38. Holiday tried to shoot up the middle, and he's brought down just across the 45. Looking at the left shoulder of Chris Johnson after that late hit that wasn't flagged.
Chris Johnson's left shoulder. Watch the hit by Brian Cushing as he drives him to the ground right on that left shoulder. Dempsey's late hit is inconsequential here, but not that hit by Cushing.
Houston has 1:55 to work with and one timeout. Working from the gun, 45-yard line. Schaub. Keyshawn Martin could not secure it. It's incomplete.
That's the first poor throw by Schaub all afternoon.
Schaub 11 of 15, 109 yards and a touchdown. Chris Johnson 10 carries, 58 yards for Tennessee. Titans are one of 15 teams at 1-2 here in week number 4. That's the most common record in the NFL. 2nd and 10. Foster in the backfield. Martin the motion man. Lestar Jean is out after arthroscopic knee surgery. Andre Johnson with a catch, but a modest gain, just 3 yards, as Jordan Babineau wraps him up.
Yeah, the Titans electing just to rush 4, drop 7 in coverage. Schaub had nowhere to go deep down the field. In fact, Johnson was really the only guy that was open on that shallow cross.
So it brings up 3rd and 7 now for Houston. Down to 1:19 left to play in the second quarter. Crowd the line. Schaub gets rid of it. Oh, and Daniels is cut down short of the first down by Jordan Babineau.
That was a great tackle by Babineau. It looked like Daniels was about ready to turn the corner there and get that first down, but super low tackle. Watch Babineau get his head in front of the runner, right at the knees. Textbook tackle.
Not sure why Tennessee hasn't used any of its timeouts here.
I think field position has a lot to do with it. Shane Graham, not the biggest of legs in the NFL. In fact, just a 53-yarder is his career long. He's kind of disappointed he won't have a shot at a long one.
It's all 4th and 1.
A 30-second timeout.
Houston's going to talk it over. Coming up Wednesday on Showtime. JB, Chris Collinsworth, Phil Simms break down America's Sunday pastime as only they can. Inside the NFL, it's Wednesday in primetime on Showtime.
The decision has been made by Gary Kubiak to send out his punter. Donnie Jones will be punting it away, and this is probably why Munchak decided not to use his timeouts, because if the Titans get the ball, they're going to be backed up deep in their own end of the field.
I think they may have also played a little game of chicken there, where Kubiak was going to see what Munchak was going to do. Munchak didn't use the timeout. Kubiak used his. They talked it over and said, hey, the risk reward, just punt the ball away. Raynaud, the fair catch inside the 10. You let that ball bounce, maybe it makes its way to the end zone.
Yeah, that's one you just want to let it bounce, maybe stay in the field of play, and the clock will run down even farther.
21 seconds left in this second quarter, and I doubt Tennessee is going to take any chances here with the ball at the 7-yard line. 14-7, Houston in front of Tennessee.
This is going to be the victory formation, and really for the Titans, a victory in the second quarter, getting back in this game after losing their starting quarterback.
End of the first half, Houston with a 7-point lead on Tennessee. The Verizon halftime report's coming up after this message and a word from your local station. This is the NFL on CBS, home of Super Bowl 47. Quick start for the Houston Texans. They jumped out to a 14-0 lead over the Tennessee Titans, but the Titans didn't go away. Jake Locker goes down with an injury, and Matt Hasselbeck leading Tennessee down the field to cut the Houston lead in half. Getting ready for second half action. Houston 14 and Tennessee 7. Time right now to take a look at the DirecTV Ultimate Picture Cam, and we'll focus in on the Locker injury with J.J. Watt and Glover Quinn with the hits.
Yeah, it was a big hit by Quinn on the safety blitz, and then a double hit when J.J. Watt came in, and then Locker hits the ground and hurts his left shoulder, but he could have hurt a number of things on that big hit.
Iron Eagle Dan Fouts rejoining you here in the broadcast booth, Reliant Stadium. This is one of those games where the numbers are going to show you one thing. Houston's dominated, but the score is going to show you something else. Tennessee has hung around here, coming off their first win of the season.
Well, they're running the ball. Chris Johnson's averaging 5.8 yards per carry, and Hasselbeck's done a good job coming off the bench. And how about plays in opponents' territories? The Titans taking advantage in just 2 plays to get Craig Stevens in the end zone there. But it was really a story of 2 quarters in that first half. Texans dominated the first quarter, and the Titans with strong defense and getting Chris Johnson going in that second quarter.
It is a left shoulder injury for Jake Locker. That's why Hasselbeck is in there. Johnson got banged up in the late stages of the second quarter after a hit from Brian Cushing.
And that'll be interesting to see if Johnson can go and how effective he will be in the second half, because he came down with Cushing's weight on top of him, right on his left shoulder.
Tennessee will have the football to start this second half. Houston will kick it off with a 14-7 lead over the Titans. Texans are 3-0. The Titans are 1-2. Last week, they became the first team in NFL history to score 5 touchdowns of 60 yards or longer in one game. A wild one against Detroit. That ball scooped up by Craig Stevens, one of the up men. And Stevens is wrestled down just short of the 30-yard line, an 18-yard return. So Chris Johnson, most effective he has been this season. In fact, he came in with 45 total rushing yards through 3 games, 58 in the first half here today.
You're not seeing any hesitation either when he's running between the tackles. His hesitation today has come from when he's trying to go out wide, but between the tackles, he's been very effective and very decisive.
On a 1st and 10 from the 28. Johnson, good vision. Keeps the legs churning. Brought down just short of the 34. Glover Quinn with a stop. It's a 6-yard pickup.
Busy afternoon for Donnie Jones, the punter for the Titans, but if that first play is any indication, we're going to see a lot more of Chris Johnson on the ground.
2nd down run. Johnson could not break that first wave. Brian Cushing along with Brady James, the linebackers collaborating, and it's a loss of 1 on the play.
Cushing, as most middle linebackers do, leads the Texans in tackles. Very comfortable playing that middle linebacker position. Great speed and determination, and he read that play very well.
Dime package now for Houston. 2 extra defensive backs on 3rd down for Tennessee. First possession, second half. Javon Ringer is in. Ringer has been out with an elbow injury. Flip over the middle. Nate Washington, the veteran, stays on his feet and gets caught from behind by Quentin Demps on the chase down. First down, Tennessee. They're in Houston territory, and it covers 25 yards.
Working against Bryce McCain, the nickel back. Here he is right in the middle. And watch the speed with which Washington gets to the inside, running right behind Jared Cook. Well-designed play and perfectly executed. Washington almost got away from Demps for a home run hit.
And Washington is comfortable working out of the slot. He says everything just happens quicker there. There's no one-on-one coverage. Johnson leans forward for a gain of 2. Brady James in on the tackle. Washington has really provided this team with some veteran leadership, and he told us so much of what he learned in Pittsburgh. He soaked in with Hines Ward and the other veterans, and he's tried to share that knowledge with the youngsters on this team.
Yeah, he soaked it all up. What a great example Hines Ward was for him. Now he does that for the young receivers of the Titans.
2nd and 8. Motion man Stevens. Play fake. Hasselbeck on a line. It's broken up. Kendall Wright in a matchup with Kareem Jackson. And it's 3rd down.
Yeah, the Jackson, the 3-year veteran, working against the rookie Kendall Wright. That ball on target, but Wright couldn't shake Jackson, and Jackson knocked it away.
Wright having a tough time. No catches this afternoon for Tennessee. Hasselbeck is 6 of 9 for 107 yards and a touchdown. Jake Locker out with a left shoulder injury.
Titans just 2 for 6 converting 3rd downs this afternoon.
They were 5 of 12 on 3rd downs last week. Play clock down to 1. Hasselbeck chased out of the pocket and throws it away.
And they're going to get him for intentional grounding here. No receiver in the area.
The ball got to the line of scrimmage. No intentional grounding.
But was he out of the tackle box when he threw it?
Brooks Reed supplying the heat.
This is our bird's eye view. Here's where he's got to get outside of in order to make this a legal throwaway. And he doesn't get anywhere near that. That's intentional grounding. That should be a penalty. So even the regular refs make mistakes, huh?
Is that rhetorical or?
Yes, I think so.
Brett Kern will punt it. Trenton Holiday. Ball never got to him, and it takes a Tennessee roll. They're going to down it at the 5.5, 6-yard line. And that ball could have rolled all the way to the 2 or the 1. Got a little overzealous there. A 7-point lead for Houston. 3rd quarter. First half possessions for the Houston Texans. They open up with that 7-play, 77-yard drive. They backed it up 2 possessions later with a 10-play, 47-yard drive. Touchdown for Casey. Touchdown for Foster. 1st and 10 at the 7. 12-12 to play in the 3rd. Make the handoff. Shot. A strike. Andre Johnson. Penalty flag thrown back at the 8-yard line. It's a 15-yard pass play.
Personal foul, crackback block. Number 83, offense. Half the distance to the goal. Repeat first down.
And that's the wideout Kevin Walter, now in his 10th year in the NFL.
Well, that's a real iffy call here against Walter. He's blocking on the defensive end, Cameron Wembley. Here he is right here. Watch as he goes low on Wembley. I'm not sure he even blocked him. Wembley jumped right over the top.
The throw, Johnson couldn't catch it cleanly. It's ruled incomplete. Akeem Ayers with the stick on Andre Johnson. The officials are back. Came onto the field, Walker, Texas Ranger, accompanying them there. Welcome back, Zebras. They're feeling the love.
They're rock stars. Are you kidding? They'll be rock stars until that next call that goes against the hometown.
Yeah, that pretty much ends it, doesn't it? But it's good to have these guys back. The new contract between the Referees Association and the NFL, 8-year deal. So the lockout ends. Arian Foster nowhere to go for Houston. Morgan and Marks combined to bring him down. Foster a little push after the play and some words exchanged, a loss of 1.
Just nowhere to go for Foster, but you go back to Trendon Holiday not being able to field that short punt. He tried to get to the ball, but it was so short it bounced at about the 20-yard line. He was still at the 15 and he had to let it go because he was in traffic. Great bounce all the way down inside the 5, and now the Texans backed up with Schaub in his own end zone.
A danger zone here. They had a safety last week against Denver. First play from scrimmage, in fact. Rush is coming. Schaub gets rid of it. Tight window handled by Daniels, but short of a first down. It's an 11-yard pickup. They needed 14.
And Mike Munchak's got to be real happy with his defense. A tight game like this, you start thinking about field position. That's why they didn't try the long field goal by Baronis, which would have been about a 58-yarder. Elected to punt the ball instead, and now they'll get the ball back and should have good field position for the Titan offense.
That's been a quiet day for Schaub, really after that first drive where he and Andre Johnson were clicking. Donnie Jones punting to Darius Reynaud. Moves forward, has some room. From the 42, Reynaud into Houston territory. Reynaud veers out of bounds inside the 30. Penalty marker thrown after the 28-yard return. 44-yard punt.
During the kick, holding number 84 of the return team. 10-yard penalty from the spot where the kick ended. First down. Timeout.
Taylor Thompson called on the hold. The backup tight end. Jake Locker knocked out of this game early with a left shoulder injury. Matt Hasselbeck has come in and has provided a calming influence for this Tennessee offense. Hasselbeck had a terrific season last year as the starter. Nearly 3,600 passing yards, 18 touchdowns, 14 picks. Savvy veteran. Hasselbeck 6 of 10, 107 yards. Tennessee takes over after the holding penalty on special teams. First and 10 of the 32. Hasselbeck. Tip. Intercepted. Picked off by Manning. Danielle Manning still on his feet. Manning 3-inning room, and he's going to take it all the way. Touchdown. Flags come down. "55-yard return off the deflection."
Tim Jamison was tangled up, I think, with Big Country Dave Stewart there, and that drew the flag. Whether it's offsetting, we'll see how this affects this touchdown return by Manning. Ball thrown just behind Taylor Thompson. He tipped it up in the air. Manning made the catch, and a great return for the score.
Number 2 in team defense this season, Houston. And they make plays at all levels. Defensive line, linebackers, secondary.
Personal foul, number 76 of the passing team. The result of the play is a touchdown. The 15-yard penalty will be enforced on the kickoff.
Danielle Manning. First career touchdown off an interception.
You can see the bottom of the screen, number 84 is Thompson. Gets his left hand on it. If he lets it go, it's incomplete, but the player's going to go for anything. Great block there by Jonathan Joseph. That gets Manning all the way to the end zone. And behind the play was the personal foul penalty on David Stewart.
What a turn this game has taken. Tennessee was trailing 14-7, taken over. After the punt by Houston, the defense has done an excellent job for the Titans to stay in this game, and off a tip ball, Danielle Manning goes all the way to give Houston a 21-7 lead in the third.
Right in the circle are our combatants. David Stewart, watch his right hand as he gets swung around by Jamison. Lands a haymaker to the side of Jamison's helmet. That's what draws that yellow flag.
Mike Munchak during that timeout sharing his feelings with the officiating crew as Shane Graham kicks it off. And it's coming back to the 20-yard line for Tennessee.
Now Munchak knows the importance of this game, cannot afford to fall 3 games behind the Texans in this AFC South division.
Houston at 3-0. The 3 other teams in the division interaction at 1-2. Handoff, Chris Johnson. Johnson with the cut. Sean Cody with the tackle. Give him a gain of 2 yards on the play. Texans trying to move to 4-0. Only undefeated team in the AFC. Arizona and Atlanta undefeated in the NFC. Single setback, it's Johnson again. Johnson to the second level. And stood up at the 31, but it's enough for a first down. Chris Johnson has been decisive.
Yeah, and he's getting great help up front, too. Leroy Harris, David Stewart, and Fernando Velasco right in the middle here. Watch the blocking he gets. And then, as you talked about, Ian, how decisive he is as he sees the cutback lane. Tight end Taylor Thompson also getting a good block.
Houston has not allowed 100 yards rushing in 5 straight games. That's the longest active streak in the NFL. Tennessee, 75 yards on the ground. And they've got some more. Keep feeding the ball to Johnson. Forward progress will get him out across the 35-yard line. Give him a gain of 5 on that first down run for Chris Johnson.
And that's how he's going to get the breakaway runs. The long runs we're so used to seeing from him is being decisive and breaking tackles at the first level of the defense. Because he's got the speed and the moves once he gets through that level to run by defensive backs and the speed to go all the way.
16 carries, 81 yards. Johnson will get a breather. Javon Ringer is in. Ringer gets the call. And Ringer is wrapped up. Penalty marker thrown at the 33. Somebody lost their helmet, and it was J.J. Watt. Sean Cody with the stick.
Personal foul, grabbing the helmet opening, number 76 offense. 15-yard penalty, second down.
And it's David Stewart.
This is not a bad, good couple of minutes for David Stewart. 2 personal foul penalties. Here he is right here. He's going to reach out and just pull the helmet right off the top of the head of J.J. Watt. Big country. And a good flop by Watt.
Well, Stewart's been combative all day, anticipating this matchup with J.J. Watt. And he's really been an enforcer through the years for this offensive line, and an excellent offensive lineman.
And that's what happens in division games, though. These guys have played each other so many times. Tempers will flare.
2nd and 20. Out of the gun. Lavelle Hawkins with the catch. They'll give him a gain of 5 on the play, and there's some more extracurricular activities. And someone's got to get control of David Stewart.
Watch Stewart again on this play. He's lined up in the backfield. That should be a penalty in itself. Look how far back he is in relationship to Leroy Harris. Stewart going after Brooks Reed there.
6 penalties, 68 yards for Tennessee. 1 penalty, just 3 yards for Houston. Play clock has run out.
Yeah, make that 7 penalties now. Hasselbeck has no idea that the play clock ran out about 10 seconds ago.
Delay of game, offense. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Stewart in the middle of it again with Cushing. And it's deafening in here. This crowd has been into it and engaged from the very start. Third and 20 for Tennessee. They go handoff for Ringer. And he gets his legs knocked out from under him by Brian Cushing. 5.5-yard gain. Tennessee will punt it as we hit the 6-minute mark of the 3rd quarter. This Houston team won 7 in a row last year during a stretch which was a franchise record. Trying to start this season at 4-0 as Brett Kern punts it to Trindon Holiday. Backpedaling. Holiday never got the acceleration going. He didn't have enough space to work with. 60-yard punt, 10-yard return. Babineau makes the play on special teams. A 14-point lead for Houston. Jordan Babineau was hurt on that punt. Robert Johnson is in for him. Ben Tate in for Arian Foster, circling around, and nothing there. No gain on the play as Derek Morgan brings him down. And for the first time, Arnold Schwarzenegger speaks out about his scandal. Plus, Lara Logan with America's top commander in Afghanistan. The season premiere of 60 Minutes. That's tonight only. CBS. Ben Tate just limped off the field for Houston. 2nd and 10. Pitch and catch over the middle. Owen Daniels bangs his way to the 34 for a 9-yard pickup. Brown and Ayers bring him down.
Last week against Denver, the Texans were real effective throwing the bomb. Andre Johnson got a long one, as did Kevin Walter. But so far today, Tennessee playing a lot of too deep as limited Schaub to just 138 yards and 15 completions.
Andre Johnson, 3 catches, 56 yards. They'll try to get the first down through the running game, and they will. Arian Foster breaking tackles. Foster taking it to the perimeter. Brought down at the 50. He made Johnson miss. Zach Dials couldn't bring him down. It's a 16-yard gain for Foster.
Yeah, Zach Dials, the first victim. And then he gets by Griffith, who's a real good tackler, Michael Griffin. There goes Dials. Finally, out of bounds helps out the Titans.
New set of downs for Houston to work with here. Play fake. Schaub looks. Guns it to the rookie Martin. Keyshawn Martin brought down after the 17-yard hookup. NFL Today update. JB Shanachar.
Patriots narrowing the gap, Shannon.
Tom Brady has now thrown a touchdown pass in 36 straight games, JB here. Buy some time. Scrambles. Danny Woodhead. 17-yard touchdown catch and run. 21-14, Bills over the Pats.
Ian Dan.
All right, thanks, guys, very much. Arian Foster getting the carry up the middle for a 5-yard gain. They will spot the football inside the 30-yard line of Tennessee.
And now you feel that Tennessee's starting to get a rhythm on offense. A couple of good runs by Foster. Good pass protection for Schaub. Schaub has not been sacked today by this Titan defense.
2nd and 5 for Houston. Schaub straight back. Slings it over the middle but can't convert on the completion to Foster. It's incomplete. Updates coming fast and furious. JB and Shannon.
Carolina tightening the gap, Shannon.
Yes, JB, those pesky Panthers will just not go away. Cam Newton, 4-yard quarterback draw. 24-21 Falcons on top.
Iron Eagle, Dan Fouts.
And good to see the young quarterback respond after the shaky performance against the New York Giants, which feels like eons ago.
And people don't really realize it's only his 2nd year in the NFL. Such a great rookie season. They expect that every game out now.
3rd and 5 for the Texans. Under 3 minutes to go in the 3rd. Schaub. Pocket holds up. Hits his man. Owen Daniels. Daniels. Touchdown Texans. What an effort. 28 yards. And Houston has added to its lead.
Really shoddy tackling on this drive by the Titans defense. They only had 6 sacks coming into today's game. They're not getting anywhere near Matt Schaub. Look at the pocket he has. He can step into this throw. Now the effort. There's one missed tackle by Ayers. Babineau comes over. He misses a tackle, and Werner can't keep the big tight end out of the end zone.
Extra point from Shane Graham. A 7-play, 75-yard drive. Capped off by Owen Daniels, and the tight ends continue to give the Tennessee defense trouble. Houston, 28-7 lead at home in the 3rd. Matt Schaub telling us that Owen Daniels is really what makes everything in the Houston offense go. His blocking in the running game, creates mismatches in the passing game, navigates the middle of the field so well. And that chemistry has been developing over the years. Schaub very comfortable with Owen Daniels as Houston has taken a 28-7 lead on Tennessee. Reynaud, the return. Tackle just across the 25 by Forsett on special teams.
Now this is what you want. You want your tight end working against a linebacker. As Daniels goes down the field, Schaub has time to find him, lets him get through his route, and it's a good sharp route. Breaks a tackle of Ayers, of Babineau, and finally of Werner to get his 2nd touchdown catch of the season.
Remember, this game was 14-7. Tennessee had the football, and an interception return for a touchdown has turned it around. Jared Cook with the catch. Cook just short of a first down, hit by Brooks Reed. It was Danielle Manning off the deflection, taking it all the way for the touchdown. Jake Locker leaving this game early with a left shoulder injury. It's been Matt Hasselbeck's show since.
And no huddle offense right now for the Titans. So they're trying to create some type of tempo. Tough to do against this loud crowd.
Crowd the line. They're coming. Hasselbeck gets rid of it. Complete for a first down to Damian Williams for 6 yards.
That's why Hasselbeck's so valuable. He can call the plays now at the line of scrimmage. Knows exactly what he wants to do and has the cool to get it done.
Over 30,000 career passing yards. Matt Hasselbeck, formerly with Green Bay, got dealt to Seattle, became a starter and a 3-time Pro Bowler. Timing play up in the air, broken up. Kareem Jackson hit off his helmet. Kendall Wright still looking for his first catch of the day.
Just a classic play by Jackson. As the receiver reaches for the ball, he looks for the ball and gets his right hand up there. Just a perfect play by Kareem Jackson. Exactly how they're taught. Receiver looks for the ball, reaches for the ball, you look for the ball, then you reach. Timing was excellent.
2nd and 10 for Tennessee. A minute 36 to go in the 3rd. Running play, Johnson. Now, Chris Johnson hasn't had the home runs, and some believe that's really been part of the issue, that he's been looking for the home runs instead of doing what he did when he started out in this league, finding spots and creating some opportunities.
If he keeps running as he is today, he'll find the home runs.
3rd and 5. Hasselbeck flips the ball out as J.J. Watt got him from behind, and it's going to be a sack. Loss of 6 on the play.
There he is right here. You got to find J.J. Watt. As in the nickel, he moves inside, so that allows Brooks Reed get his hand on the ground as a defensive end. Right around Harris he goes, and Hasselbeck can't get that ball out before he hits the ground. 3rd sack of the afternoon for the Texans.
And the 2nd for Watt. Now has 7.5 on the year. Kern the punt.
Shankopotamus.
Is that an actual thing?
That's what that was.
35 yards on the punt. Is that Sesame Street?
That's golf.
Next Sunday, doubleheader action here on CBS. The first game, the Browns visit the Giants. Baltimore is in Kansas City. Game 2, most of you will see Peyton Manning and the Broncos battle Tom Brady and the Patriots. It all starts with JB and Company. The NFL Today, presented by Southwest Airlines at noon Eastern here on CBS. Thinking of Snuffleupagus.
Well, whatever turns you on.
1st and 10 for Houston. Schaub, the flip. The Houston offense is on. Arian Foster able to get out, and Tennessee claims they've got the football, but that play was whistled dead, just short of the 35-yard line. As Akeem Ayers with the stick, Michael Griffin came away with a loose ball. It's going to go down as an 8-yard gain through the air for Houston.
Heads up, though, by Griffin. Didn't really hear a whistle on this play. Jarrell Casey comes in from the blind side and then punches the ball out, but well after Foster is down. Watch the ball come out.
End of the 3rd quarter here in Houston. The Texans 28-7 lead over Tennessee. This is the NFL on CBS, home of Super Bowl 47. Start of the 4th quarter here in Houston. Ian Eagle, Dan Fouts, the rest of our CBS crew, producer Bob Monsbach, director Suzanne Smith. Texans with a 28-7 lead over the Titans. Houston with the football. Handoff to Arian Foster, and he spilled out at the 35-yard line, very close to a first down. Jarrell Casey, first man there for Tennessee.
Well, Tennessee's defense is going to have to come up with a big play, much as they did last week in their win over Detroit when Alteron Werner stole the ball from the tight end Pettigrew and took it to the house for a touchdown.
Titans come in averaging a league high, allowing 37.7 points per game. Schaub gets rid of it to Casey. Nicely done by Houston to pick up the first down and a 3-yard gain.
Casey had a huge first quarter, but the Titans doing a good job with the play, or the Texans rather, with the power run formation on 3rd and inches, and sneaking Casey out into the flat where he beats Babineau.
New set of downs. Get back to the ground game. Arian Foster fighting his way for a 3-yard pickup. Akeem Ayers over there for Tennessee. We asked Munchak about Ayers. He said he's got a special ability to get to the quarterback that's been untapped. Still getting used to being an every down linebacker and what's expected of you in just his 2nd year out of UCLA.
And as an every down linebacker, that means in running situations, short yardage situations, and of course in nickel. A lot for the youngster to handle.
Play fake. Schaub offline. Garrett Graham was in the area for Houston. So it's 3rd down for the Texans. 3rd and 7 just underway here in the 4th quarter.
Texans have 3 very serviceable tight ends in Casey, Owen Daniels, and Garrett Graham. Graham had a 27-yarder last week in their win at Denver. That's the new diva position in the NFL. Tight ends, H-back, move guy. They get a lot of passes thrown their way now.
Well, you did all right with a tight end in San Diego.
Yeah, some guy named Kellen Winslow. I think he made it to the Hall of Fame.
3rd and 7 for the Texans, working from the gun. Protection holds up. Schaub connects with Kevin Walter. It's a first down. Matt Schaub, very patient, allowing that to develop downfield. It's an 8-yard pickup for Houston.
Yeah, Kevin Walter has done a lot of the dirty work over the years. 324 career receptions, and a lot of them converted into first downs. Speaking of first downs, Matt Schaub on 3rd down passing. You don't get any better than 7-7.
The young receiver, Lustar Jean, is out after a knee injury. Handoff, Arian Foster tried to take it the other way. Foster is hit after the 3.5-yard gain by Brown and Dials for Tennessee.
But that's what you love to see in a running back, though. I mean, Foster was thinking about cutting it back and going wide to the right side. But you don't really need that at this point in the game with this type of lead. You just want to make positive yards on every play, and that's what he did by turning it straight up the field.
Houston just below its season average, 29.3 points per game, 5th in the NFL entering week 4. 2nd and 7 now in Tennessee territory. Foster knifing his way for a first down. Arian Foster will just wear on defenses. And Foster, this has not been a dominant running game for Foster, but you look up, he's got 83 yards and a rushing touchdown.
And you can just tell by the relationship that he has with his offensive line. That time, Ryan Harris in at right tackle, and Foster just allowed Harris to do his work very patiently, stayed behind him, and again got up the field to pick up the first down.
Clock is rolling. We come up on 11 minutes to go in this 4th quarter. 9th play of the drive. First down for Houston on a pitch. Ben Tate. Tate zigzags. And dishing out some punishment out across the 35 with Michael Griffin over there for Tennessee. A 7-yard pickup for Tate.
Really, this is the moment of truth for any running back and defensive back. Watch as Tate goes low. Griffin goes low. They hit head-to-head. Great play on both players' part.
Jake Locker, left shoulder injury early in this game. Matt Hasselbeck has stepped in for him. 28-7, Houston in front. 2nd and 3 for the Texans. On the ground for Tate. Cannot break free of Pernell Egbo. In his first year from Stanford, on the practice squad last year. Egbo making a play out in space, a loss of 2. 3 undefeated teams remaining in the NFL. Arizona 3-0. Last time that happened, 1974. Atlanta 3-0. Hadn't done that in 8 years. Houston 3-0 for the first time in franchise history.
The Cardinals back in St. Louis, coached by Don Coryell.
That's a good Coryell pop for you.
Absolutely. He should be in the Hall of Fame.
We got Winslow in. We got Coryell in.
We got a few more.
Schaub, separation. Too high for Andre Johnson. He was open against Alteron Werner, and a flag thrown at the 45.
Schaub had to throw this early. He took a pretty good lick there, and Johnson never really saw the ball.
Number 60, offense. That penalty's declined. 4th down.
Ben Jones called on the hold. Right now they're looking at a 54-yard field goal if they wanted it, and they're not even going to attempt it.
Check out the move. Andre the Great with a great move, but just could never locate the ball. Schaub had to throw it too soon, but that would have been an easy touchdown. You see the frustration as Schaub goes over to tell Andre just exactly what happened.
Schaub, 20 of 28, 202 yards, 2 touchdowns. Donnie Jones, the punt. Trying to pin Tennessee deep in its own territory. Raynaud's going to let it bounce, and Houston will down it inside the 10. 28-yard punt. Second half possessions for Tennessee. The interception return for a touchdown really turned this game around in favor of Houston, now with a 28-7 lead. 9:20 to go in this fourth quarter. Shotgun for Hasselbeck. Line of scrimmage, the 8. He gets rid of it. Nate Washington the catch. And quickly brought down by Bryce McCain. 4.5-yard gain on the play.
Well, the Texans bringing heat on Hasselbeck, looking for safety. But Hasselbeck had the crossing route to Washington. Just Washington's third catch of the game for 42 yards. He had that brilliant touchdown reception last week against Detroit.
This is a team that scored on a punt return, a kickoff return, 2 pass receptions, and a fumble return last week. Cook with the grab. The stick from Quentin Demps, and Demps is going to come off the field. Demps actually had surgery this week on his thumb. Shiloh Kao comes in to replace the veteran Demps.
And that might have hurt Cook too, because Stevens has come on for Jared Cook.
3rd and 3 for Tennessee. Gets rid of it. Incomplete. Nate Washington had not turned around yet, so the timing was off between Hasselbeck and Washington. How about J.J. Watt?
Well, no problem with timing for Watt. He's got to find him first. Wade Phillips has moved him all over that defensive line in nickel situations, and he's had a big afternoon. 7.5 sacks for Watt this season. You can make a real good argument. He's the defensive MVP of the first quarter of the season.
And they're going for it on 4th and 3. Hasselbeck. Oh, Stevens holds onto the ball. It looked like Glover Quinn had it and maybe a pick 6. Instead, it's a first down for Tennessee.
Who wanted it more? This was almost a simultaneous catch right there. It looked like Quinn had it, and Stevens just too strong. Good leverage, pulled it away.
What do you know about simultaneous catches?
Absolutely nothing. I should be a replacement ref.
Up the middle for Chris Johnson.
I was in Seattle broadcasting that game for Dial Global. I still can't believe I haven't seen a simultaneous catch ever, and I've only been to about 4,000 football games.
So this drive remains alive for the Tennessee Titans, but they're in a 28-7 hole. Hasselbeck steps up. Tried to flip the football, and J.J. Watt comes up with it. Antonio Smith, the pressure on Matt Hasselbeck. Turnover, Tennessee.
Well, Hasselbeck stepping up into the pocket. He's going to get this ball knocked out from behind. He never sees Antonio Smith there. Great job by Antonio Smith reaching around with his right hand to knock it out. Bad ball security in the pocket by Hasselbeck. He's got that ball in one hand. Easy for the defender to knock it out.
Texans take over with a 1st and 10 inside the Tennessee 20. 7:11 to go in the fourth. Arian Foster plowing up the middle for 2 yards. Egbo, the tackle.
Well, Antonio Smith getting in the action. He'll get credit for a sack and a forced fumble here. 31.5 sacks now in his career. And J.J. Watt, he's everywhere. You go back to that Cincinnati playoff game when he intercepted Dalton from about the same spot on the field and walked into the end zone. What a spectacular play that was.
It's just clicked. And from that moment on, Watt has realized he can dominate at this level. Give is to Foster. Arian Foster. Great balance. Jason McCourty ranging over there to help bring Arian Foster down. He did a lot of work to pick up just a couple of yards. J.J. Watt, 2 sacks, a fumble recovery today as he continues to wreak havoc on opposing offensive linemen.
He talked about how everybody's been making plays on this defense. Now they've sacked Titan quarterbacks today 4 times.
Does he remind you of anybody, J.J. Watt?
He reminds me of Howie Long, guy I played against many, many times, a great Hall of Famer with the Raiders. Built similarly, great motors on both of them.
3rd and 6. Foster hit down low by McCourty. And it's 4th down for Houston. Now Shane Graham will come on to build on this lead a bit. 5:39 to go in the 4th. Timeout called. So we'll step aside. 4th down. Field goal unit is on for the Texans. Houston Texans in control against the Tennessee Titans, 28-7, and now a 33-yard attempt for Shane Graham. Graham knocks it through. Houston 31-7 lead against Tennessee. 5:38 remaining. 4th quarter. Game show, JP and company, the latest NFL scores and highlights. That's all coming up on the Subway postgame show. 31-7, Houston in front of Tennessee. 5:38 to play now in the 4th quarter as Graham kicks it off. And this one is going to roll into the end zone. Touchback. Tennessee will have it at the 20. Well, you know, nobody knows the game like a quarterback. Don't miss Phil Simms, Rich Gannon, Steve Berline, special guest Dan Marino. NFL Monday QB. That's tomorrow, 6:30 Eastern, only on CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. Matt Schaub, 20 of 28, 202 yards, 2 touchdowns. Did a terrific job directing this offense. That C on his jersey, a captain, a leader. And he's helped get his team a 31-7 lead over Tennessee. Hasselbeck in for the injured Jake Locker. Set it up, wide receiver screen. Kendall Wright caught from behind by Earl Mitchell, a former tight end in his own right / fullback. And Shiloh Ko injured on the play after the 20-yard catch and run by the rookie.
How about the effort by Earl Mitchell? Great moves by Wright. Get down the field. Look at Big Earl coming. Former fullback at the University of Arizona.
Big Earl. That fits. These two teams have split the season series each of the last 4 years. Houston's got the big lead on Tennessee with 5:25 to go here in the 4th. Hasselbeck, the fake, the throw into heavy traffic to Chris Johnson. Johnson trying to get to the 1st down line. 8-yard pickup. Kareem Jackson with the open field tackle for Houston.
Yeah, great tackle by Kareem Jackson. Johnson had a lot of blockers in front of him as he found his way all the way back to the left side.
2nd and 2 for Tennessee. Handoff. Johnson hits the hole. Johnson to the 45, inching closer to 100 yards. Chris Johnson has gone 7 games since his last 100-yard rushing game. That's the longest stretch of his NFL career.
Needs 3 yards to get to 100 now.
Shotgun. Hasselbeck steps up. Hasselbeck slides at the 42-yard line. Take up a 4 on the quarterback keeper. Time trickling away here. We're down to 4:12 remaining in the 4th. Hasselbeck. Intercepted. It's Kareem Jackson. Jackson is gone. Touchdown, Houston Texans. 2nd interception return for a score today. That one covers 63 yards.
Jackson's had just an outstanding afternoon. He jumps this slant route by Damian Williams. And then he knows, because of his position on the field, he's got clear sailing, just has to get by Hasselbeck. That was no problem. Titans defense showing why they're among the tops in the AFC because of this man and because of the talent that the Texans have accumulated over the last couple of years.
Kareem Jackson, a high school running back, and those running back instincts take over when you got the football in your hands. Graham the extra point. It's 38-7. Houston. Jackson's second interception of the season, his first career touchdown.
Well, it's a slant route by Damian Williams, but he doesn't come in here with much conviction. Watch Jackson jump the route. He's got his eyes looking inside here. Williams kind of just gliding in there. Hasselbeck will give chase. Watch Daniel Manning come from behind and knock the quarterback down. That could have been called an illegal block there. It's definitely in the back by Manning. Gets away with it, and Jackson gets a touchdown. This is what you call, for a quarterback, insult and maybe injury.
Second time in team history that Houston has returned 2 interceptions for touchdowns in the same game. Manning had the first one, Jackson with the second one, and the route is on. 38-7. Texans. Graham kicks it off. Raynaud's going to take it out 1 yard deep. Raynaud hit hard as he crossed the 20-yard line by Tim Dobbins on special teams. Coming up, Subway postgame show. JB and the rest of the crew, latest NFL scores and highlights. It's all coming up on the Subway postgame show.
Yeah, unfortunately, I've been in a situation that Matt Hasselbeck finds himself in, having thrown an interception, having returned for a touchdown, getting knocked down. Next thing you know, you got to go back out there, and you got to face your teammates, and you got to get a couple of first downs. So at least you go into the locker room after this defeat, and you've got something even as small as a couple of first downs to be positive about on your plane ride home.
Johnson gets the carry. Johnson over 100 yards. As Johnson went airborne, lifted up as he crossed the 30-yard line. Allen Ball over there. Chris Johnson, 20 carries, 109 yards. First game this season where he has cracked the 100-yard mark. Have to go back to week 13 last year against Buffalo, the last time he did it. Give it to Johnson again. He accelerates through the hole to the 39-yard line. Jake Locker on the Tennessee sideline with a left shoulder injury. Matt Hasselbeck in for him. Rusty Smith, the third-string quarterback, inactive here today. Damian Williams would be the emergency quarterback for Tennessee. Johnson gets wrapped up. Daniel Manning in there. NFL Today update. JB and Shannon in New York.
Cam and the Panthers, Shannon.
Yes. JB, guess who he's going to throw this ball to? K-Aloha Polaris. K-Aloha Polaris, JB. The Panthers have the lead, JB. 28-24 over the Falcons.
Ian and Dan had that name down pat. Back to Ian and Dan.
K-Aloha Polaris. Kendall Wright with the grab. First down at midfield. Pickup of 11. 2:22 left to play in this fourth quarter.
And one thing the Titans have got to make sure as this game winds down is to keep Hasselbeck standing and not injured.
Javon Ringer is in. And Ringer, who dealt with a serious elbow injury, seeing his first action of the season. 2-minute warning. Upcoming schedule for the Tennessee Titans. They are at Minnesota next week. We'll have that for you. The NFL on CBS. Then Thursday night hosting the Pittsburgh Steelers in Buffalo. home for Indianapolis in the month of October. 2nd and 1, Johnson. Chris Johnson. The first signs that Chris Johnson has gotten back to the old Johnson with 15 yards on the carry, 131 yards on the day.
Yeah, definitely the most positive thing that could happen for the Titans today was to get Johnson a good afternoon.
Quick toss to the outside. Kendall Wright unable to stay on his feet. 5-yard pickup. Clock is rolling. 1:28 and counting left in the fourth. Hasselbeck called in for the injured Jake Locker. Locker 0 of 2 on the day. Before that left shoulder injury, Hasselbeck 16 of 24, 182 yards, a touchdown, 2 interceptions, both came back for touchdowns. 3-yard gain there.
One more time for the injury to Locker. Safety blitz, Glover Quinn coming. Locker looking the other way, never sees him. Then J.J. Watt from the other side as Quinn pounds Locker to the ground. And he comes up with a left shoulder injury.
Suffered a left shoulder injury in the season opener loss to New England. He was a question mark for the Week 2 game against San Diego. He ended up playing in that game. Played very well last week. 378 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks, had 35 yards rushing as well in the 44-41 victory in overtime against Detroit.
And that was his best game as a collegiate player or as a pro player.
3rd and 2. Johnson bouncing it to the outside. And ridden out of bounds by Manning. He's got a first down, 5-yard gain. Coming up for the Houston Texans, Monday night at the Jets. Then Green Bay at home, Baltimore at home. They hit the bye at the end of October.
And in the history of this town, whether it's the Oilers or now the Texans, first time either of those teams have ever been 4-0.
A minute to go here in the fourth. The throw, Hasselbeck connects with Kendall Wright for the touchdown. (38-13) Houston.
Yeah, got inside Bryce McCain, number 21. Perfect throw by Hasselbeck, and real good speed by Kendall Wright. First round pick out of Baylor. He knows about getting into the end zone thanks to RG3. That's his second one of his rookie year.
Rob Baronis on for the point after. Houston is 57 seconds away from its 4th win of the season. 10 plays, 79 yards for the Tennessee Titans. And it took 3 minutes for Tennessee. Well, we'll give Houston the win. Gary Kubiak, like many coaches, divides the season into quarters. They try to assess where they are, who they are after those 4-game segments. I think we know who they are right now. They're the only undefeated team in the AFC.
And I think they know where they are, on top.
That's right.
But, you know, you've got a division weakest in the NFL. Young quarterbacks on all 3 of those other teams. The veteran quarterback here, Matt Schaub. The talent level between the Texans and the rest of this division is very obvious. The fact that they're 4-0, and tough stretch though coming up before their bye that we just saw.
NFL Today, Shannon Sharp, one-on-one with Matt Schaub, and asked the question flat out, Super Bowl or bust for this team? And Matt Schaub agreed. That's the level of expectation now in Houston, not just making the playoffs and being a factor in the postseason, winning the whole thing.
Well, and who knows how far they might have gone last season if Schaub wasn't hurt.
That Liz Frank injury cost him the last 6 games of the regular season and the 2 playoff games as well. So Matt Schaub has never played in a playoff game. Baronis kicks it off, and Forsett will take the knee. 57 seconds left to play.
This is what you're talking about, Ian. All the different quarterbacks that have yet to have a playoff start. David Carr, of course, been around a bit, backing up Eli there with the Giants. Same thing with Jason Campbell now in Chicago. And I guess if you're a backup quarterback, you've been around a little bit. That's why you haven't been to the playoffs.
Well, Carr's got himself a Super Bowl ring, though.
Yeah, you sure do.
Former #1 pick here in Houston. Well, for Tennessee and Mike Munchak, after the thrilling win last week against Detroit, the smoke clears. They are 1-3 on the season. For the first time in franchise history, the Houston Texans 4-0. A 38-14 victory over the Tennessee Titans. The Texans in control in the AFC South. Gary Kubiak's team got off to a very quick start, and then some big plays on defense to secure the win. Coming up next, it's the Subway postgame show. For Dan Fouts, our entire CBS crew, this is Ian Eagle saying so long from Houston. The Texans are 4-0. The Titans are 1-3. Houston getting it done all phases of the game. You've been watching the NFL on CBS, home of Super Bowl 47.